Hey, good morning, church. Welcome to another week of our Bible reading. So much happened this week. We finished Judges, went all the way through Ruth, and we started First Samuel. It's important to realize in all of this, we are still in the time of Judges. Even though we finished Judges, Ruth is during Judges, and Samuel starts at the very end of the period of the Judges. So let's hit some highlights.
Yeah, I remember when we said last week, viewer discretion is advised when we get to Judges. That's really what we experienced in this week of reading. We saw the ugliness of a culture of people doing what is right in their own eyes, and it reaches a depth of depravity and a terrible scene found in Judges chapter 20. I remember reading it this week, and I could barely finish the chapter. And frankly, it doesn't seem like it can get any worse from there. It's just so deplorable. And there's something that's repeated in the book of Judges, especially towards the end. It's this line that Israel had no king. So the implication is that Israel desperately needed righteous and wise, consistent leadership, and it lacked that, and it needed it. So they didn't recognize God as their king, so they did what they wanted, and they ended up worshiping other gods. And then we get to the book of Ruth, which is such a breath of fresh air because everything changes, at least for this book here, because the people in this story choose to do what is right in God's eyes. Yes. And this shows us that even through the darkest times, there is a remnant seeking after him. There's a group of people always that are faithful. They are praying. They're looking for the Lord's movement. They're wanting to join him in that. And God is always near to them, always.
Yeah, it's really cool. And just to kind of wrap up Ruth, it's Ruth is a Moabite. Boaz is the son of Rahab the prostitute, and from them comes the line of David, and from David comes Jesus.
Yeah.
So God is using everybody in this story of redemption. But now we're on into 1 Samuel, and this is setting the stage for God to take back his people. The gods of the nations are humiliated, and the people following other gods see how powerful Yahweh is. So in our reading of Samuel so far, we still don't get much of a brighter picture. Eli's sons are overzealous. They begin a battle disobediently, and it results in the loss of not only their lives, but the loss of the Ark of the Covenant. This was a heavy thing. Mm-hmm. But even in this, we do have hope. So first, we see the birth of Samuel, and his mother Hannah dedicated him back to the work of the Lord. And that will set the stage for big changes to come in Israel. But then we're going to see, even though Samuel proves faithful, Israel still slips. We also see the power of God working independently of his people's heart posture. When the Philistines capture the ark and they set it in the temple, the temple of the god Dagon, God manifests his power in this incredible way. So God causes the idol Dagon to fall down on its face. He destroys the temple. He shames that god. And the Philistines can't help but desire to return it to Israel, even inciting, hey, remember, Pharaoh didn't heed this warning. We better.
Yeah.
So it's really interesting.
Yeah. So in all this, this week, we see that God's sovereignty prevails. And that's truly the story of every book of the Bible. And the overarching story of the Bible is that God's sovereignty, God's plan prevails. Nothing will stop it or get in the way of it. And so it looks like he's lost control in many different places. Based upon how the people are acting. It looks like he's not present in the midst of this evil, but the powerful display of his might, especially in this scene of Dagon, this false god, reminds us that he is always there and he will always win. So that gives us something to trust and hope in, even while we're reading stuff that's really troubling. Israel is the one who chose to withdraw. It's never God. James 4:7-8 reminds us of this. Therefore, submit to God, resist the devil, and he will flee from you. Draw near to God, and he will draw near to you. And that's not just some New Testament, New Covenant promise that James wrote in his letter. That's the promise of God for all of his people for all of time.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh. It was a good week of reading. Keep reading. Keep listening.
Have a great weekend.